Lynn. I'm your hero for responding to you on Instagram. Well, you're very welcome. I'm always happy to respond to everyone on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube and email, all of that. There's a lot of value in, well, talking to people. The best way to succeed in poker is to play your best and know how to treat your bankroll. Well, depends on what your best is, right? We discuss this a lot. All you really have to do at the wonderful game of poker is find a game you can beat. Perhaps easier said than done. Play it a lot. Easier said than done. And keep a proper bankroll. Probably the easiest thing to do of the bunch, but most people don't even do that. Hope you're all having a great day. Whenever you all see me live, let me know. And we will get to it. Whenever I come back from a trip, I never know if the internet's working properly. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I guess we'll find out soon. This should be live. Yet I'm seeing no one's Twitch chats. You all will trickle in a minute. What is this over here? What am I seeing? No. No. What's this thing in the corner? That's so weird. I have a new, slightly new monitor. Interesting. For all those who are listening to this, is it my microphone? Oh, it's the microphone. There we go. Let's get that out of here. There we go. Everything is fine. Okay. Everything is fine. That's what the little GIF says with the little guy sitting in the furnace with like the fire burning around him. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. So yes, we just got back from Las Vegas a few days ago. Long trip. Good successful trip. Poker went okay. I had a 4th place in the $50,000 buy-in tournament, which was the biggest one I played out there. Got $250K or something like that for that. So that alone made it profitable despite me losing 7 or 8 other tournaments. Really, I feel pretty good with the way it went. I guess there are a few things we can talk about that before we get to the topic of today, which is tips for traveling the poker tournament circuit. Going out there, I felt like I played generally good, loose, aggressive-ish enough poker. There were definitely a few very weak players in the field, which made for the events being very profitable. There's no rake in the tournaments, which also makes them very profitable. They give you nice food for free, makes it very profitable, right? All these little things add up. And I got in the top like 20% of the field 2 times, once in the 25K and then once in a 10K. Then just like lost, could have easily won a hand to not lose, right? So I felt pretty good going into the main event. And in the main event, I just kind of played good poker, really. Didn't really get all in a lot. And then to the final table, something kind of weird happened. I actually made a video blog that'll be coming out soon, where I said something along the lines, I'm going to go in there and try to play pretty insane poker because all of the stacks are somewhat even. And when you get to the final table where all the stacks are somewhat even, turns out there's a lot of value in becoming the chip leader because then you can push people around. Fine, good. Went out there planning to do that. And then very early in the final table, one of the players got down to about 1.5 big blinds. 3 big blinds, actually, but then he took the blinds. And to be fair, I have not studied a ton where I'm a clear medium stack. The big stack is on my left. Andy's insane. Sean Winter, good player. Shout out to him. Also, good other players to my left. There's Stephen Chidwick on his left. So if Sean ever folds, Stephen Chidwick's there to be insane as well. I wasn't really sure how to play those spots. I probably ended up playing a little bit too cautiously. But collected a free 5th place for sure. Just by sitting there and blinding out a little bit. Definitely give up some amount of equity. The question is, do we give up any real equity? I'm not sure. Still not sure. Some people are trying to show me sims to say. There was one hand where I folded ace-jack in the hijack seat. Obviously, normally you never fold the ace-jack, but the big blind had 1.5 big blinds remaining, right? In a spot where if I raise, I know good and well players to my left are going to be 3-betting a lot. And I have to fold. You could say, why not just rip it in? Because if they ever have anything, it's a disaster because then you go broke before the one big blind stack, right? So there are a few spots like that where I played a little bit on the tight side. But that's fine. There's another hand, it was funny. I had pocket 10s. I raised, I guess, hijack seat. Something like that. Jason Kuhn called the big blind. I think it came 9 What did it come? 9 blank blank, but what were the blanks? Was it 6-5? 9-5-5? It was 9, maybe 9-5-5? Turn 6? Doesn't sound right. All low cards. Playing like 17 big blinds deep. He checked the flop. I bet small. He called. Turn was another low card. And either paired the board or completed straight. One of the two. He led small. I called. River was like a really a disconnected card. Like a 4 or 3 or 2, something like that. He bet small and I like to shove all in. The commentator said, I don't know why he would turn his pocket 10s into a bluff. But oh, no. We were not bluffing the pocket 10s. We were value betting. I thought that was funny too. I don't know. All the stuff's on my mind. It just happened the other day. Anyway, you can watch the replay of that on Poker Go. I played a little bit on the tight side, like I said, just because I was a very clear medium stack with 2 loose aggressive stacks on my left with a tiny stack at the table, which was always annoying. But such is life. So today we're going to be discussing tips for traveling the poker circuit. Ladder principle in play for justifying cost. I don't know what a ladder principle is. I do know what independent chip model is. Audio and visual not in sync. If anyone's here on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, let me know if the audio is in sync with the video. Who knows if it is or isn't? I don't know. Whenever you travel, you inevitably mess around with your setup, and sometimes things are not quite right. You all are saying it's fine and okay. Well, when you say it's okay, that gets me a little bit concerned because I want it to be perfect. Okay and perfect are different. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. It's fine. Oh my gosh. It's just okay. Well, that's not what we're going for. That stare down was great, LOL. So funny enough, Sean and Steven Chibok will both stare right at your face. I actually don't stare at the face so much whenever I'm playing poker. I stare at the heartbeat, wherever that is. For some people, it's their hands. For some people, it's their neck. For some people, it's their chest area. So that's fun. Thanks to Nate Daughtry subscribing 10 months on Twitch. That's fun. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. YouTube Business Sync. There we go. That's what we're looking for, James. That's what we're looking for. Do you think there are bots that play online poker? Especially on the unlicensed, unregulated, illegal sites, absolutely. Funny enough, we were out there and it seems like pretty much all of the good world-class pros share my exact viewpoints on the unlicensed, unregulated, illegal gambling sites, which makes me feel a little bit good because quite often they are not so active on social media. They just want to go and print their money. But I learned about a few, I guess we'll call them scams that people try to run on the illegal sites, apparently successfully. Learned about specific games where they have lots of bots. Learned about specific sites that don't pay so well. All illegal sites. I guess, when you're playing the high-stakes games, inevitably you try to find every edge you can. And that implies sometimes you play on the illegal sites because, if the games are good, what are you going to do? But you also learn which ones to especially watch out for. And it turns out, well, if you all know my views on some of the specific sites, they all completely agree with them, which makes me very, very happy to hear. All right. Anyway, tips for traveling the poker circuit. Number 1, plan ahead. Figure out what we're going to do. A lot of people go out to a poker series and then don't really know what they're planning on doing. They go out there, they're going to play. Maybe they know they're going to play the main event. They're going to go out a few days before the main event to see what happens. Next thing you know, they are playing literally every single thing they could possibly play over the course of the 3 or 4 days before the main event. And by the time the main event comes around, they're whooped. They're tired. They're worn out. And that's probably not ideal, right? I definitely recommend you schedule the specific events you ideally want to play. Maybe you'll end up skipping some if you make a deep run in some tournaments. Maybe you end up playing a few more, right? I'm actually in the process of figuring out my World Series of Poker schedule right now. And one of my employees is going to be going out there to film content. He's like, yeah, I need to know the specific events you're playing. I'm like, man, I don't know what events I'm playing. I know a few of the big events I'm probably playing if I'm not in a day 3. But you go out there and you have a general plan. I guess I'm kind of fortunate to be in a spot where I can just play these smaller buy-in events for me whenever I feel inclined, as opposed to like having to play them or those being the main thing I'm going to play. But For most people, you want to have a very clear schedule. So let's say you're going to go play a tournament series at whatever tournament you're going to play for a week or so. You know you're probably going to play the main event, okay? You also know you're going to play, let's say, one or two other tournaments before it. Let's say you're going to go to Hard Rock, right? They have a lot of good tournaments at Hard Rock in Florida. Let's say they have the main event. You know before the main event they have a tournament that's about one-fourth, one-third the size. A day or two before. Probably going to play that too, right? You know, after the main event, sometimes they'll have a tournament that's about half the size of the main event in terms of buy-in. You know you're going to play that too. So make a schedule, make a spreadsheet, right? And use it kind of like a calendar so that you know what you're going to do. Also, you want to make sure that you then do not interject so many things into that schedule that you are not ready to play the main reasons you are going on that trip to begin with. So let's say you really want to go play the main event. They're going to have a few day ones, whatever. You want to make sure that you are not going out there and planning to play the day 1A of the main event, and then the day before that you decide to play satellites all day and all night until 7 a.m. Because if you play satellites all day and all night until 7 a.m., when you wake up, you are not going to be well rested to play the main event. So you've essentially played satellites all day and sacrificed a decent amount of equity / happiness EV, because you're going to be super tired and not feeling great, on the next day. So maybe you shouldn't be playing the satellites all day and all night, right? That said, if you know you're not going to be able to play the main event because you're not properly bankrolled, and you are going to play satellites, realize your goal is not really to play the main event. Your goal is to play satellites and make as much money as possible. In which case, you satellite in, don't play day 1A, take the day off, and then play day 1B or day 1C or whatever, right? So that is very, very important. You also, though, want to make sure you understand not just the specific tournaments you want to play. You also want to make sure you know your priorities. And this is where you have to figure out, why are you actually going to the event to begin with? I feel like we're finally getting into real topics here 12 minutes into the show. Thanks to all of you for dealing with my rambling. How did the Poker Open go? Well, we just discussed that. Sorry, we're not going to do it again. Go back and rewatch the first 12 minutes of this. So what are your actual priorities? So, for example, going to the US Poker Open just recently, I knew I was going to play a bunch of tournaments. There were $10,000 buy-in tournaments every other day. There were actually $10,000 tournaments every day, but I don't play the random mixed game, so those were basically off days for me. So I knew that some of my priorities were to hang out with friends or potential business partners, right? So that means go out and do stuff with other people. That may mean stay out a little bit and have a party, which may sound a little crazy. Your priority was to go and have a party? Well, to go out and have fun with friends / business partners, right? And that kind of thing is valuable to me because I don't get to see my friends all that often, and I don't get to see any business partners in Las Vegas very often because I'm not there all that often. That said, that may change because Poker Go is putting on a bunch of big tournaments coming up in the near future, so maybe I'll be out in Vegas a bunch. Anyway, you need to figure out what your actual priorities are. And if your goal or your priorities are to go to, let's say, Hard Rock again and play the tournaments, but you also know you're going to see some friends, you're going to go to some parties, you're going to play poker all day and all night because that's all you want to do, maybe that's okay, right? You do want to make sure you have some amount of logic built into your, call them other activities, because otherwise they could easily overtake your actual poker play, assuming that even is the most important part of the trip, right? For me, going to play the poker tournaments was the most important part of the trip. So the day before tournaments, I would make a point to be asleep by, roughly midnight. That way I can wake up and play the tournament at noon the next day, no problem, right? That said, if there was an off day, then I would go out and have a party, right? Because I know I have a whole day to recover. Can you turn your mic up? No. I'm looking at the mic. It's basically at the proper volume. Do you play cash games while in Vegas for a tournament? Well, Leo, this goes back to the idea of what are we trying to accomplish, right? So I know I'm going to play a tournament, $10,000 buy-in tournament. We play it, we lose, we have an off day the next day. Would I rather sit and play cash games, or would I rather go and, talk to business contacts, etc., etc.? I would personally Rather go talk to business contacts, go hang out with friends, because I don't get to do that very often at all. And I don't need to go sit in cash games and make some hourly rates. That said, I did play 2 sessions of cash games. They went amazingly well out there in Vegas because those were almost like business contact games to some extent, right? So you want to figure out what you are trying to accomplish again, right? The games I got to play were quite big games. I'm not going to go sit there and play a game to make, let's say, $50 an hour, because it's worth way more than $50 an hour to me to hang out with friends I don't ever get to see and to hang out with the business contacts, right? So you want to figure that out. What happened to my 2021 World Series of Poker vlog? There wasn't a 2021 World Series of Poker yet. That's happening in a few months. Okay? Also have money set aside for those other things. Well, look. If you're going to go play poker tournaments and you don't have money to go to dinner, to go to see the Las Vegas Golden Knights play hockey, etc., that may be a problem, okay? You want to make sure you have money for various expenses that you're not going to lose, I guess. Maybe you're saying have money set aside for the poker tournaments to begin with. I mean, this goes back to the idea of, are we playing professionally or are we playing for fun? Certainly you want to have a partitioned amount of money you can lose, I guess, if you do not have a poker bankroll. It's kind of a different topic. If you're going to go out there to play poker and you have a job and you know you're not a professional, you should probably set your buy-ins aside and not go over it, right? Because you're gambling, right? Whenever you're going to any gambling excursion, you want to make sure you don't go over whatever the reasonable limits are for you. Very important. Don't go off the deep end and lose a bunch of money. For a good example of this is I usually just like wire in a bunch of money and then wire it out, right? I don't get credit, because if you get casino credit, well, it turns out if you have a decent job, they will give you close to infinite credit. And you don't really want close to infinite credit. You want to be well within your means, right? It's really easy to go off the deep end. And some casinos will let you. Not all, but some casinos will let you, right? That said, in terms of like having pocket money, yeah, I mean, like I guess say you're going to go play, say you know you're going to play, I don't know, $10,000 worth of tournaments, take more than $10,000 with you, right? It should be common sense, because you may want some money to go do things. That said, basically everywhere takes a credit card or a debit card, etc., etc. Do you take jet lag into account, East Coast to West Coast? Not really, Russell. So whenever I'm on an airplane, I basically just hibernate every time, either direction, purposefully. I'm pretty good at that. That's not a problem for me. And to be fair, I guess I've experienced significant jet lag going like on the other side of the world. Then what I do, if I'm going to be going a long way away, is I'll get on the right sleep schedule well before I go to travel, right? That way I'm kind of on the right sleep schedule already. Anyway, this is an important one, what Leo asked. Do you play cash games while in Vegas for tournaments? And my answer is usually no. It's also, though, because tournaments now allow you to re-enter for quite a while. And because you can re-enter for quite a while, you can't even tell what this thing is. That's weird. So shiny, huh? Because you can re-enter for quite a while, you're usually in the tournaments until 7 or 8 p.m. anyway, so I don't really want to play a tournament, bust at 7, 8, 9 p.m. and then go play cash games for an hour or two before it's time to go to sleep. So it doesn't really work out with the current tournament setup. What are the mechanics of wiring money in and out? Figure out where you're supposed to wire money to the casino, right? For example, with Poker Go, you just email the tournament directors. They will send you a document that tells you where to wire money in. It's not difficult. It's a pretty easy process. That said, if you are going to wire money in, ideally you want to wire money into the poker cage and not the casino cage if those are different things. At Aria, they're not different things, for example. But at some casinos, they are. And the reason for that is that if you wire money into the casino cage, they may not be so willing to give you the money to play poker, because they view those as different things. I know at Hard Rock, we're giving all the shouts to Hard Rock today, In the past, some players have had problems wiring money into the main cage because they said we can give it to you to play blackjack, but we can't give it to you to play poker. I don't know why. Probably have funny rules. So definitely be aware of that. Call ahead, right? Call the cage. Confirm, hey, I'm using this money to play poker. Is this going to be a problem? And they will almost always say no, but you never know. It is worth noting, if you do wire money to, let's say, Aria, you can only use that money to play at Aria. They will not really give you cash. Like, say you wire in $10,000 to play. If you go to the cage and say, give me my $10,000, they're going to say, no, go to the table and get it. In which case, your job is to then go to the blackjack table and get it, but they will not really easily let you leave with that money without paying it back. So essentially, you're wiring the money in purely to gamble. You're not wiring it to pay your hotel. You're not wiring it to go have drinks. You're wiring the money purely to play gambling games or poker or whatever, right? So if I go to what I would do is every day I'd go to the poker cage and say, here's my card, my player's card, here's my ID. They confirm it's me. They take money out of my account and use that money to play for or pay the buy-in, right? And then they give me my tournament receipt. My account gets deducted whatever the amount is, and then there we go. Funny enough, someone posted on Twitter that their favorite thing about the poker vlogs is seeing all of the money. But I'm sitting there thinking, like, I handled almost no chips and no money the entire time I was out there. Everything was on paper. It's like kind of funny to think that at the small and medium stakes, you deal with a lot of paper money or chips. But once you get to the really high stakes, you don't really deal with that so much. I mean, I guess you have some chips here and there, but not really. Been living in Las Vegas since the 21st. You always see Matt Affleck at Aria. Go say hello. Would you say a World Series of Poker event under $1,000 are going to be very juicy / good, decent value for online players? Absolutely, Nate. Any tournament during the World Series of Poker time that's something like $1,000 and lower is going to be quite good. Quite good. How's a new energy drink? Is this really an energy drink? This is a cerebral beverage. Brain fuel. It's good. I drank it the entire time I was out there in Vegas. There's 2 boxes in my luggage. Took it with me. It's good to go. Drank it every morning. It'll get you going. It is great. You're very suspicious of 888. 888, as far as I know, is a licensed, legitimate poker site. They are not going to cheat you. All right, what are some other tips for traveling? One-way flights. Unless you know your schedule very clearly, which maybe you do, maybe you don't, then you probably need to book one-way flights if you're going to go play poker and you plan on leaving as soon as you're done with the main event. The issue with not booking one-way flights is that if you don't do that, you may be stuck out at a casino you don't necessarily want to be at for an extra day or two. Now, a lot of poker tournament series have fixed this problem. They realize this was a problem for professionals especially. So what they do now is they will have tournaments after the main event, with the last tournament or two usually being a turbo. World Series of Poker is doing this, for example. The World Series of Poker just released their schedule. The last 2 tournaments of the series, at least for me, are going to be a $10,000 turbo and a $5,000 turbo. And you know that you're flying out the day after the $5,000 turbo because all the tournaments are going to be done, right? It's a little bit different when they used to have the main event as the last tournament because you may be in the main event on day 6 or on day 2, right? That's when you may bust, right? And you don't really want to book a flight to leave on day 9 when you actually bust on day 2 because then you're just sitting in Vegas for a week. And then you have to end up paying change fees. I've never had a problem getting a flight out on a one-way flight. I've never had an issue with this. That said, that may change because of COVID. There's always a chance for that, right? So I have not experienced this in the post-COVID world, but so far, pre-COVID at least, I never had a problem booking one-way flights. They're always roughly the same price as both-way flights, and it just gives you a lot of flexibility. Maybe you have to take a slightly earlier flight than you would like, slightly later, whatever, but I've never had a problem with that. I keep a study notebook of hands. I write them in my phone at this point. Although I do have a link, jlpoker.com/notes, where I explain how you can reasonably take notes at the table. How much studying do I do while traveling? Not a ton. I will watch various training videos. I will get sims ran for me, but not a ton. You got to realize, whenever you're playing poker 12 hours a day or whatever it is, there's not a whole lot of time left to study, although that said, in the ideal world, if I had like a good setup wherever I was traveling to, I would make a point to have that set up. I do a lot of studying when I'm away, though. Do you think the main event will be the biggest prize pool ever? I would bet against it. Just because I think a lot of non-Americans are going to have a difficult time traveling to America, and they usually make up some real portion of the prize pool. All right, next. Get a poker rate for the hotel. Hotel rooms are expensive. They're getting even more expensive. I was looking at the place I used to stay at the World Series of Poker. Last time I went, it was $120 a night. Now it's $200 a night. Great. And that's kind of the case across the board. And you can find still that a lot of poker rooms will give you a good poker rate. Okay? So, talk to the floor person, talk to the tournament director, talk to your casino host, whoever you need to try to get a discounted hotel rate. For example, if you can get a hotel room comped at a good casino, that could save you a lot of money. For example, I was just at Aria, and let's say I was going to be there for 20 days. 20 days times even a cheapish rate of $200 per day is $6,000. If you can get $6,000 comped just by talking to someone and saying, hello, I'm going to play all the tournaments you're running. I'm going to show up on time and be a good player for you. Then they'll usually give you a pretty good rate or completely comp your stay, right? So that'll save you $6,000. $6,000 is a real number, right? So make sure you talk to people about that. When did I last travel to play? I got home literally 2 days ago. Are hyper sit and goes comparable to spin and goes? Similar. The problem with six-handed sit and goes is they often pay 2 people, where spin and goes pay 1, which will definitely change things. Why don't you do like Negreanu and have a camper? I think they charge a lot of money to have a camper. I don't know the actual amount they charge, but I think it's like a real number. A real number that I do not feel like spending. You've never had a problem with a casino not letting you use your phone at the poker table? You can't use your phone while you're in a hand. Also, a lot of casinos now do not want you to look at range charts at the poker table. Or pre-flop charts at the poker table. So keep that in mind. There are devices. There are pieces of see-through glass that make it to where people can't see what you're looking at. Pretty much all the good kids at the poker table I was playing with this week had those on their phones. I don't know what they were looking at, but I'm just going to speculate. There were probably some sort of charts, let's just say that. But anyway, it's kind of frowned upon, especially by a lot of casinos now, to let you look at things like the poker coaching app. Let me show you the poker coaching app if you've not seen it. We actually have a new update coming out very, very soon. If it's not already out, it'll be out very shortly. GTO pre-flop charts. Let's just show you a chart real quick. Random chart, as you can see here. Nice and easy charts you can use at the table if the casino allows it. Yeah. This is a spot where, what are we? Button versus small blind 3-bet, 30 big blinds deep. Tells you how to play your entire range. You can pull it up in half a second. You see how quick I pulled that up, right? Let's swap if the big blind 3-bets. You see, slightly different chart, right? Make sure you check this out. This is the poker coaching app. We're having a sale for pokercoaching.com for Father's Day. That was yesterday. Shout out to all the fathers. I got to spend all day with my kids. Perhaps a little bit too much of my day with the kids. Does Father's Day mean the father has to take care of the kids all day, or does Father's Day means the father gets to do what the father wants to do? Because I think around here, somehow it's ended up being the father has to take care of the kids all day. Suppose that's okay. I got to go away for 2.5 weeks. Such is life. Hello from India. Grateful Dead, hope you're having a great day. Thanks for being here. Should someone consider paying for a founder's? I don't even know what a founder's membership is. You pay money and you get good status at various properties? Sure. Or you just play a bunch of poker there and they'll give it to you. Free parking. Well, let's talk about this. I have not rented a car or had a car in Vegas for the last 4 or 5 or 6 times I went to Vegas. I've just taken Uber everywhere. Cost a fraction of the price to rent a car. So that is definitely worth noting. I would recommend if you're going to the World Series of Poker, let's say, stay somewhere kind of near the Rio. I would not recommend staying at the Rio. I would say somewhere kind of near the Rio. But there are a lot of places kind of near the Rio that cost, I think my Uber ride each way was $6 the last few years. $6 Uber ride. Now, I'm not going to be able to like go out to Mount Charleston and go hiking, which is like an hour and a half away. But like whatever, that's fine. I'm fine being relegated to the main Las Vegas area. And then you don't have to worry about a car. You don't have to worry about parking. You don't have to worry about any of that. It's so easy. That's what I've been doing the last 2 years, and I'm definitely not renting a car anytime soon. You love the push fold app. Good. Am I plus EV in GG's 10K tournaments? I don't know. Let's see. I look pain folding the ace-5 suited in the cutoff. So there was a hand at the final table where we were all medium stacked, I think. Sean Winter on my left is very loose and aggressive. He gets in there and battles. I raised the cutoff with ace-5 suited. He 3-bet. I don't actually know what he had. Someone told me that he had king-7 offsuit or something, which I think is perfectly viable. I mean, not shocked, right? That was the spot where I definitely could have shoved. Almost shoved. But I'll tell you my problem. There's one player at the table who I thought would be kind of prone to make errors and go broke kind of quickly. So I really did not want to be just like the first one out. That's when we were down to 5 people. And that's one of those scenarios where like shoving is probably profitable, but incredibly marginally profitable. Kind of like my ace-jack offsuit raise. Like it's profitable, but very marginally profitable. And if you don't play the spot perfectly after, well, if you don't play the spot well, right? Like say I actually am shoving a little bit too much, or let's say I misinterpret Sean's range is actually tighter than I think, then it's a big problem. It goes from marginally profitable to incredibly unprofitable very quickly. And I'm fine shying away from those spots. How are the Uber and Lyft times lately? I think I took Uber twice when I was in Vegas recently, and it was quick enough. I don't know. I'm telling you, I never had a problem. Maybe again, look, I don't know how the post-COVID world's working. Maybe we'll go out there in the fall, and the times will be insane. But I had no issues. At the World Series of Poker especially, it's really easy to get an Uber. They have like a little area where people just drive through. You get in. One secret at the World Series of Poker is to not use the poker area parking lot. Instead, walk 3 minutes down the way to the main Uber area and to the main taxi area. Usually there's like no line, no wait down there, whereas the poker area is swamped with people. Usually, if everybody's trying to leave the casino at the same time, you'll have a hard time getting a taxi. Sometimes that's an issue. But, whatever. Why not stay at the Rio? I'm not a fan of it. The Rio is fine if you're going to be there for like a few days. It is not fine if you're going to be there for a month and a half. All right. Next. Take some staple food. What is staple food? Take food that you want to eat every day or often. For me, that ends up being brain fuel. Basically replaces all coffee type stuff. A lot of casinos don't give coffee anymore, which is kind of a bummer. And I take this stuff called Living Fuel Super Greens. That is a canister of powder that you mix with water. Probably put brain fuel in it, really. It's a canister of powder you mix with water that is it's not really a meal replacement, but it's just like kind of like a healthy smoothie type thing. So I take that with me. And then I'll usually take some almonds, right? So nothing fancy, but like these are food that I can eat if I have to eat some food, like I do in the morning time. I usually eat that. Also, you may want to find somewhere at the casino that you can reasonably eat that you're happy with, right? So for me at Aria, every morning, I'll tell you what I did. I would wake up at about 11 a.m. I would stroll downstairs. I would drink my Living Fuel Super Greens and drink my brain fuel. I would stroll downstairs and go to a juice place. They have a juice place. And they have the, I don't forget what it's called, like the refreshing package or something like this. It's $20. They give you like 2 juices and some shots of, not shots of alcohol, shots of aloe vera or something like this. I don't know what it was. I took it every morning and it was good. And that made me feel perfectly good every morning. Then I would go to the Poker Go Studios, which is a great place to play. If you ever get a chance to go play there, check it out. And they would give you free food from Javier's, which is a good Mexican place. So then I would order fish of the day with like tomatoes and sauce. It was good. So that'd be my breakfast every day. A bunch of juice, Living Fuel Super Greens, green vegetable powder smoothie, and fish. Next, I would definitely recommend taking a water bottle. Sometimes water is difficult to find out in the desert or in casinos. So definitely take a water bottle. Ideally, take a bag with everything that you need. What do you need? What do I need? I would take a Living Fuel Super Greens refill in like a blender bottle. So I just have that already ready. Not with water in it yet, just the powder and the bottle. I would take a water bottle. I would take an iPad. I would take headphones. I used to travel with a jacket, but I don't take a jacket anymore. I take freezing cold showers in the morning. Is that part of the morning rituals you're asking about here, Kevin? Take a freezing cold shower every day, and that makes me kind of immune to the cold to some extent. Therefore, we're good to go. Don't need the jacket anymore. What else do I have? Don't take a phone charger. I'm not on my phone to where it dies. I'd recommend not being on your phone at the poker table. What else do we do? Like a pen, paper. Is there anything even else in my bag? Sounds like I don't really need any of this stuff, does it? That's about it. That's all I take. Rebuy money. Haha. So yeah, that's what I take in my bag. But figure out what you need. Ideally, if you're going to go play poker or go travel anywhere, don't take your laptop or your main computer. Plenty of people have had their information stolen, hacks installed on their computer, etc. If you are going to take your computer, put it in the safe, or at least kind of hide it somewhere every time you leave. Don't just leave it out and turned on like some people do. That is a big, big, big mistake. Do not do that. But in the ideal world, you don't take your computer because people can hack you, right? Or just steal your computer. I realize if you are a poker content creator, that may not be possible. If that's the case, put it in the safe. Safes are actually pretty big. I can fit my big computer in the safe. Or you can just like hide it somewhere and you'll be fine. Do you think hot food should be banned at the card table? No? Do you have any superstitions? I don't have any superstitious rituals, that's for sure. Specific breakfast, no. I just do what works, right? Just find what works. I hear that the most unlucky thing is to be superstitious. Should you get a business license and an IRS business deductions? Yeah, so you should. Well, this depends on your situation, right? If you are a professional gambler, that's your main source of income, and you can show the government you are legitimately trying to be a professional gambler, and you don't have another job, etc., then yeah, you should certainly do that. And that will allow you to write off expenses, right? Regular non-poker players, if you're just like a civilian can write off gambling wins write off their losses against their wins, but they cannot write off their expenses. Professionals can write off their expenses. We already mentioned how a hotel room for a week and a half or 2 weeks may cost you $6,000 or whatever it is, right? Professionals get to write that off. So if I win, let's say, I think I won, $70,000 out there, I get to write off $6,000 of it for expenses, which means now instead of winning 70, I win 64, right? And that's good. Whereas the civilians who are not professionals can only say that they won 70, right? And then they have to pay taxes on that. What's a quick overview of expenses you can write off? Well, if you're a professional, you can write off anything relating to your travel, right? Anything relating to you going to play, and anything relating to you getting good at the game. How far do you take that? I don't know. I don't take it especially far. But like, if I'm traveling, I'll write off literally everything pertaining to the travel. So, like hotel, airplane, taxis, food, all that stuff. Have you ever been to Australia? Yeah, I've been to Australia 2 times to play poker. I went for the World Series of Poker events they had out there one time. And I went for the Aussie Millions. I was on a podcast recently, the Global Poker League podcast with Roland Boosby. And it was like my first flag or something like that. And it came to my attention, I've never cashed in Australia. He asked like where one of my favorite places to play was. I said, Australia. Then he was like looking through my records, like, oh man, you haven't done so well there. I'm like, I haven't? Had a good time. No, 0 cashes in Australia, so that's nice. Definitely talk to a tax professional if you're going to try to be a professional poker player, etc., etc. My tax professional is Teresa Fox. She is great. I've never had an issue. But I mean, look, a lot of people go through like a long, drawn-out morning routine to try to get their brain into poker playing mode. I don't really do a lot of this. I probably could do more. It's going to sound bad, but I'm a professional. If I had to go play a $100,000 buy-in tournament in 6 minutes, I could be ready to go play the tournament in 6 minutes. Don't got to do anything to get myself in the mood or anything like that. I'm just ready to go. But I realize that's not the case for a lot of people because it's not their profession, right? It's an uncommon thing, right? Is it okay to come to a famous poker player and ask to take a picture? Not when they're in a hand. If they're not in a hand, it's probably okay. They may not like it. I mean, look, you're going to find that some people are way cooler than others, right? If you come to ask me for a picture, I'm going to say sure every time, right? I'm not going to name any names, but some people are not as cool. Content creators are almost certainly going to be cool with it. Non-content creators may not be so cool with it. That said, look, I'm just a random dude. If somebody wants to take a picture of me, you say sure and thank you. Whereas I guess if you're a legitimate celebrity, then maybe it becomes a bit of an annoyance. I'm not getting asked to take enough pictures where it becomes an annoyance. So I'm very, very happy to take pictures with anybody. That said, you can't just like stroll back into the back room at Aria or into Bobby's room and say, hey Doyle, can I take a picture with you? No, you can't do that. But like if they're playing a poker tournament out there somewhere, or especially if they're on break, look, if they're not playing the poker tournament, or if they're not at the table playing, then sure, go up and chat. Go up and say hello. Realize if they're on break, they're probably trying to go pee. So make it quick. Don't be there and tell them your whole life story. Nobody wants to hear your whole life story. They want to say hello, meet a fan, take a picture, have a good interaction, and move on. So understand the constraints that the professional's on. If the professional's at the poker table and you decide to go talk to them, which again is way less cool than finding them on a break or when they're away from the table. But realize they want to play the next hand. They don't want to miss the next hand because you want to talk to them, right? They're paying rake and paying time or whatever, and they want to make sure they do that. If you take a business partner to dinner and conduct business at the table, you can deduct 50% from the bill. Sure. Look, again, Kevin, figure out what the rules are and abide by the rules. What about hugs? I would recommend not giving people hugs in post-COVID world unless you know they're super cool. You want to get a Jonathan Little autographed trading card. Well, they got to make trading cards first of Jonathan Little. Maybe one day. I hear we may have some NFTs coming. That's pretty cool. Will I be playing the $500 buy-in tournament this year? Nope. At the World Series of Poker this year, I'm probably going to play... I don't even know if I'm going to play the $1,500 tournaments, honestly. There are a few that won't be so busy. But look, I don't want to go to the Rio and not be able to go pee in the break and not be able to get around and be jam-packed. That's just not my vibe. I much prefer show up, chill, play some poker, go home, right? Do you have to claim... Everybody wants to know about taxes. Talk to Teresa Fox or another professional. Do you have to claim taxes for cash game wins if not a professional? Yeah. When I'm on break, I relax and chill. I'm not talking to people. I'm sorry, not talking. I'm not sending poker hands to people during my break. If I have a hand, I just send it on the next hand. You don't have any trading cards? I own a bunch of trading cards, but none of me. Not that famous yet. Maybe one day. It is worth noting, for legitimate celebrities who go to play poker, there are a few of them. They go to play poker in an effort to be anonymous to some extent. I'm not talking like people like me. I'm not a real celebrity. Or even people like Phil Ivey. I'm talking about like movie stars and stuff. A lot of movie stars who go to play poker, they just want to be left alone. Maybe on the break, say hello, take a picture, quickly, but they just want to be anonymous to some extent. I'm not going to say that I'm nearly as famous as them, but like there are some times where it's like, okay, this is a bit much. And after that, you kind of just want to decompress. That's how legitimate celebrities feel on a daily basis, and they just want to decompress and be left alone. And I'm not going to say you shouldn't go say hello and take a picture, but do your best to be respectful within reason. All right, what other tips do I have? I don't really have a whole lot of other tips. Study a lot before you go. Study a lot before you go to play poker. Vitally important. Don't go out there and think, all right, I'm going to play and then study a lot. Ideally, you know what's going on before you go to play. That said, you should review hands. You should do your best to study. but also, again, realize why you are going out there. You have to imagine a lot of you have poker playing friends, and you're going to want to hang out with your poker playing friends, and you're going to want to have fun. So make sure you have fun when you travel. I messed up the first few years of my poker career traveling because I would legitimately do nothing. I would only play poker and only study. And that's not ideal, right? So you want to make sure, like someone at the top of the show said, do things like eat locally. Now, I'm not going to say you need to make a point to go eat locally, but you need to get out and you need to enjoy the environment, enjoy the unique opportunity that you have. Because realize you do have a lot of unique opportunities, and you want to make sure you're making the most of them. If you spend all of your time sitting in a casino playing cards, you've probably messed up at the end of the day. So make sure you take advantage of the amazing opportunities that you have. Are we going to have a poker coaching meetup during the World Series? Of course we are. You all know me. Anytime I have the opportunity, if I'm going to go play a big tournament series, and a lot of you are in town, we're going to have a breakfast for sure, because that's the only thing that you can logically schedule. That said, we'll figure it out. You think crypto will be okay in the next few months? What do you mean by okay? It's a weird question. Do I think it will be okay? Who knows? Where can you find out how to study properly? Pokercoaching.com. Matt Affleck has a video on how to study properly. Cut at Venetian is good. Cut at Venetian is good. Have I used a pee bottle during a big online tournament? No. That will get you banned. Ask Antonio Esfandiari. I am a poker superstar. Well, I do my best. I don't feel like it, but I do my best. I'm just a guy playing some cards trying to help out other people. And that's all you can do. All you can do is show up, do the work, and do your best. Speaking of doing the work and doing my best, I have a webinar to do now. We're having the poker coaching homework webinar starting in about 13 minutes. I am woefully unprepared. Like I said, we're on this. Whenever you travel and come back, everything's always messed up in my setup, so I have to make sure everything's functioning properly, so we're going to have to go. Maybe it's working right, maybe it's not. We'll see in about a minute and a half. It's good to be home. It's good to be away too. It was Father's Day yesterday, so I got to take care of the kids all day. If you want a big discount on pokercoaching.com, check out pokercoaching.com/fathers. It's the biggest discount you're going to get for a very long time. So make sure you check it out. Don't miss out. Sale ends very, very soon, so make sure you take advantage. That's going to be it for today. Hope you enjoyed this show. If you did, do me a favor and click the like and subscribe buttons below. Tell your friends. We'll be back with this show next Monday, bright and early, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. I think we'll be opening some poker cards, maybe, if my camera cooperates. If someone has a good tutorial on how to make a setup for opening poker cards, let me know. Opening trading cards, let me know. I'm kind of struggling with that. We don't have a great setup. So anyway, that's that. Good luck in your games. Have fun. Have fun. Make the most of your opportunities. That's all you can do. I know that I messed up making the most of my opportunities, and I want to make sure you make the most of your opportunities. So anyway, that's it for today. Make sure you check out my YouTube channel. Have you been watching my YouTube channel? We have lots and lots of strategy videos there. Something like 4 or 5 per week. Make those all for you. Hope you enjoy it. Click like, click subscribe, click notifications. Is the content at Poker Coaching up to date? We upload so much new content every single month that was made over the last month that it is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, the amount of up-to-date content we put out on a regular basis. PokerCoaching.com has a 100% money-back guarantee, by the way. If you go there and you check it out and you don't like it, ask for a refund. I'll give you a refund. If I do not help you get substantially better at poker, I do not want or deserve your money. This is not a hit-and-run scam where I get your money and disappear. I'm going to be here. You can interact with me. If I don't give you a refund and you ask for a refund, well, I'm right here. You can talk to me. Look, you'll always get a refund if you do not like what I put out. Fortunately, we don't have to give very many refunds because everybody likes what I put out. But I think crypto will be okay in the next few months. I think I understood the question the first time. I don't know what you're trying to ask me. It will either be up or down. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Spread your bets accordingly and make wise decisions. Good luck, have fun. I'll talk to y'all next time.